What's up, everyone? Welcome to Ashley Talks Movies and welcome to my review of Superman. This is the latest take on this iconic superhero character, this time coming from writer-director James Gunn, who's known for his work on the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and even the Suicide Squad. And here he's now the co-head of DC Studios and using this new Superman movie as a launching pad for a new DC universe. David Corenswet stars as Clark Kent, aka Superman, who's working in Metropolis as a reporter at the Daily Planet alongside Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan. As Superman begins to wrestle with his Kryptonian heritage and his human upbringing, he faces a new threat from Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult, who seeks power even if he has to destroy the world to get it. Before I jump into the review, do me a favor, make sure you subscribe, that way you can keep up with everything I'm posting on the channel, including all of the movie reviews, entertainment news, and more.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States will
representing
cause
anybody
more
except for me.
problems around the world.
And doing good.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
It's now time to talk about James Gunn's Superman. This is a highly anticipated movie. It certainly made my list of the most anticipated movies of 2025. And this was a tough task to take on because Superman is such an iconic character. Since his origins, he spawned numerous stories, whether it's the comic books or the TV shows or the movies. And anyone who's a Superman fan has their own version of Superman that they love the most, especially when you're talking about the on-screen portrayals, right? Some people think that Christopher Reeve Superman is the best version of Superman. Some people really love Henry Cavill. Some people may be really old school and really love George Reeves' Superman. But either way, this is a character that is beloved by so many people. And whether it's an actor taking on the role or a director, bringing the story to life, there's certain expectations that people have with this character because he's been around for so long. But I think what James Gunn does here is really offer a fresh take on this story that feels very true to the character. And I really liked what he did here. Now, this is the first solo Superman movie since Man of Steel. And this one has a very old school, nostalgic feel to it. In many ways, it feels like it harkens back to some of the early comics, but also has a hint of the Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve Superman in there as well. This is a story that taps into a lot of the ideals of what many people associate with Superman. It's light, it's hopeful, it's optimistic. Superman here is this beacon of hope and a beacon of doing good and being a positive force in the world. This one also leans into the science fiction and allows for some really interesting world building. It also takes on this really interesting idea about Superman and poses some really interesting questions in terms of Superman and his Kryptonian heritage and also his humanity. And what I loved about this movie is that it does lean into that human side of Superman. Yes, he's an alien from another planet with a lot of powers, but he's also someone who grew up on Earth, and his upbringing is very human. His outlook on the world is very human. And one of the best examples of James Gunn leaning into that humanizing aspect of the story is how he starts off the movie. Now, this is a shot that was seen in the trailers, so this is not a spoiler. But that shot of Superman pummeling to Earth, bloodied and bruised in the snow, is how we start off this movie. And we're basically seeing Superman at his most vulnerable. He is weak, he's in pain, he is hurt. And I think that is a great way, a great introduction into this new Superman to have us sympathize and empathize with him right from the start and to be concerned about him and to see him again at his lowest moment. Gunn uses this story as a way to play with these different ideas of how a figure like Superman fits into the world. Superman / Clark Kent wrestles with this throughout the movie. Is he the heroic figure that everyone believes him to be, or is he a threat because of how powerful he is? And what is he allowed to do with that power? And not only does he question it, but the world starts to question this as well. And so because Superman saves the world from time to time, he does get involved in international affairs. And so yes, this movie does have political undertones. So much has been said about the political messaging in this movie. I think a lot of that has been overblown. After seeing the movie, it's clear that James Gunn wanted to have these political undertones. And I think he's not subtle about it in any way. I think his approach is very true to the Superman character, because from Superman's origins, Superman has always kind of been involved in politics in some way. He's been a figure that has taken on fascism, for example. Now, from the very beginning, James Gunn said that this wasn't going to be an origin story, and it's not. We get dropped right in the middle of the action. This is an established Superman that's already been saving the world. He's already that heroic figure. This is a Clark Kent that is already working at the Daily Planet in Metropolis. But because of that, the beginning of this movie feels a little overstuffed when it comes to the story, because there's so much ground to cover. We've got to catch up to where we are in this Superman story. I think James Gunn does a pretty decent job with it at the beginning. You do have some dialogue-heavy scenes that are filled with exposition, that throws a lot of plot at you at once, but as the movie goes on, it starts to even out, and I think by the end, it does find its footing. Now, the cast here is perfect. I think if there's one aspect of this movie that literally has no flaws, it's the cast. It's amazing how well-suited everyone is for the roles that they play. David Corenswet is a very good Clark Kent / Superman and is able to play the duality of that role. I think his performance will wash away any doubts people might have had about him taking on this mantle. He does a very good job. He has the charm that's needed for Clark, captures the essence of that character. He's that lovable farm boy from the Midwest who is awkward at times, but also very sincere. And he's a great Superman. He has the ability to kind of be stoic when he needs to be, and he does feel like he could be that hero to save the world. Rachel Brosnahan is absolutely excellent, amazing as Lois Lane. This might be my favorite movie depiction of this character in a really long time. I think she's great as, the intrepid reporter that everyone knows Lois Lane to be. I love how tenacious she is, and she just fits. I love how she is written here. I love how she does the portrayal. And her and Cornsweat have amazing chemistry that really helps sell the dynamic between their characters. Nicholas Hoult is fantastic as Lex Luthor. Not only does he have the look down, but he nails the performance. His Luthor is an angry, menacing, power-hungry person that has it out for Superman, who will stop at nothing to get what he wants. And I like the balance here where his performance is not too over the top or quirky and weird, but it's also not too self-serious either. Eddie Gathegi is Mr. Terrific, and I really liked his portrayal here. I didn't realize how much Mr. Terrific we were going to get in the movie just based on the trailers, because he's not prominently featured in them. And when he shows up, he is a scene stealer. Now, as much as I'm praising this movie, and I really did enjoy it, there are moments where it does stumble. And it is a very crowded movie when it comes to the characters. Now, the core characters that I mentioned, Lois, Clark / Superman, and Lex Luthor, I think are just a great dynamic, and they're really fleshed out and very multi-dimensional here. And even with Mr. Terrific, I think it did a really great job of fleshing that character out. You have some other supporting characters here that are shown and not really given much else to do, which was kind of a shame. I really felt like, this movie could have done more to integrate these characters a little better into the story. Yes, this is very much a Superman movie, and it's very much centered on him, which I liked. But again, I just really felt like, when you have this many characters in here, you can weigh things down if you don't use them correctly. The visuals here are a little inconsistent. There are many shots in this movie that are gorgeous, and in particular, I'm thinking about shots that are inside a lot of the buildings, like inside the Daily Planet. Really love the set design there. But then there are some shots that look overly digitized, and then the CGI in some parts of this movie are particularly jarring, especially in some of the action sequences and some of the up-close shots. And it was really noticeable for me because I saw this in IMAX. So this is a huge screen and it was very, very noticeable. Now, I did enjoy that there was humor in this movie. This is a very lighthearted movie. It's a fun movie. But there were times where I think the humor was overdone. This is a tendency that James Gunn has sometimes with some of his movies where he likes to insert jokes in the script in moments where maybe you don't need them. There are some scenes here in this movie that are very emotionally heavy. Some very serious conversations are being had. And then James Gunn does that thing where he likes to put some gag in there and, to get a little chuckle. And it's funny, but also it undercuts the serious nature of what is happening in the foreground. And that happens quite a bit. And maybe it's just something that I don't like. Maybe other people are fine with it. But to me, I like when there's a balance of the humor and the serious. Now, a lot is riding on this movie, as I already said. This is the movie that's launching this new DCU. But I think despite its flaws, James Gunn has created a movie here that offers a really solid foundation for what's to come. And I really liked what he did with the Superman character. I loved the performances. I liked the world building here. And I'm really excited to see what comes next. I'm interested to see more from this Superman, and I'm interested to see what other characters appear in their stories. And like I said, I think James Gunn did a really solid job here. And, it's a tough task to take on. But I think he understands the character of Superman, and he understands it in a way to give fans what they wanted without veering so much into fan service. But he also understands the character enough to take it in a new direction, but still keep those essential qualities about Superman that people love. And I think if people go into this movie with an open mind, willing to, take on a new Superman and a new story, I think they might find something really enjoyable here. So those are my thoughts on Superman, which is out in theaters this weekend. Do you plan on seeing the movie in theaters? Let me know in the comments. While you're here, like and subscribe and stick around for more videos like this.